All right, welcome to another video where I'll be discussing JAMB topics in biology. And this time we're moving on to the next topic, which is chapter 4 or topic 4 of the JAMB syllabus, common insect in our environment. So in this chapter, we are required to consider 4 insects, and those insects are mosquito, cockroach, housefly, and butterfly. Now, before I will begin, will have to take a look at the general characteristics of insects. And again, we're going to be using the book Explicit Biology, which is the guide for this preparation or this video. So, general characteristics of insects. I'll quickly go through this short slide. All insects have exoskeleton, that's number one, and they have 3 main body parts, which are the thorax, the abdomen, and the head, or the head, thorax, and abdomen. And of course, insects also have a pair of antennae on the top of their heads. So insects have compound eyes. In addition, 3 pairs of legs, and many have 2 pairs of wings, but not all insects. Now, if we look at another unique thing you should know about insects is their process of metamorphosis, which could be complete or incomplete metamorphosis. So for complete metamorphosis, there are 4 stages. You have the egg, the larva, the pupa, and then you have the adult. Now, the larva is completely different from the adults. For example, in butterfly, it undergoes the process of complete metamorphosis. And of course, metamorphosis refers to that series of developmental changes from the egg to the adult. So for incomplete metamorphosis, you have 3 stages. One of them, the first is the egg developing into the nymph. And from the nymph, you have the adult. Now, the difference between the complete and incomplete metamorphosis is the fact that the pupal stage is missing in the incomplete metamorphosis, and the nymph resembles the adult, except that it's a smaller creature. So I'll show you this. This is well captured in this image. You have the complete metamorphosis here, which goes from the egg to the nymph. Sorry, this is the incomplete. From the egg, incomplete metamorphosis goes from the egg to the nymph, and then you jump straight to the adult. And for the complete metamorphosis, you have the egg to the larva, and you have the pupa, and goes to the adult. So let's begin. What do we need to understand under this topic, common insects in our environment? For every insect that is being treated, you should be able to draw and label. So basically, it's about being able to draw and label the organism, number 1. Number 2, being able to explain their reproductive cycle. So, and when you're considering the labeling or the drawing and labeling of these insects, the emphasis is more on the general body anatomy, number 1. Also take a closer look at the head structure of these insects. So let's begin with the mosquito, for example. The mosquito is slender in shape. It has a pair of wings for flight, and the other is reduced to the balancers. The head bears 1 compound eyes, and then the mouth is modified into a long tube called the proboscis, which is used for piercing and sucking. And there are 8 visible abdominal segments. Another thing to emphasize is the economic importance of these insects. So when you say economic importance, you're considering both the good and the bad. And of course, mosquitoes can help to pollinate flowers in their search for nectars, those mosquitoes that do not feed on blood. In addition, the female requires blood in order to stimulate the production of eggs. So, for example, the female Anopheles mosquito which transmits Plasmodium. Plasmodium is a protozoan parasite that causes malaria. You also have the female Culex mosquito that transmits what you call Wuchereria bancrofti. It's a roundworm that causes filariasis, which is elephantiasis. And also you have the female Aedes mosquito that transmits a virus that causes yellow fever. So that's that for the economic importance of mosquito. And here is showing the mouth parts of the mosquito. You should be able to draw and then label this. I want to show you quickly an image here of the mouth part of the mosquito, the head structure of the mosquito. So you have the compound eye. You should be able to spot the pair of antennae. You should also be able to see the maxillary palp, the labium, the labrum, which is outer, and you should be able to spot the maxilla, the mandible, the labellum, and the hypopharynx. Now, within this entire structure here, which is the labium, you have the proboscis, which is used for piercing and sucking. Now, again, if you look at the life cycle of the mosquito, it undergoes complete metamorphosis. So you have the eggs, and it goes into the larva, and you have the pupa, and then the adult. Next, we move on to discuss the next insect, which is the cockroach. Now, the cockroach has a dorsal-ventrally flattened and oval body. It has a long antenna for detecting sensation, and of course the body is divided into the head, the prothorax, the thorax, and the abdomen. So it has 2 pairs of wings. It has the abdomen that has 10 segments, which 8 are visible, and the last segment bears a pair of jointed cerci, which is covered with sensory hairs to detect air movement. In addition, the male bears 2 unjointed stars, which you can see in this diagram. And I'll show you a clearer image of the mosquito that shows the anatomy quite vividly. So this is the cerca, this is the style, and this is the cerca here. Okay, now you should be able to take a closer look of the leg of the cockroach as well, and be able to draw and label. So this is the structure of the leg of the cockroach, beginning from the coxa to the trochanter to the femur, the tibia, and you have the tarsus, and you have the claws. So this is also very important to be able to draw and label. The economic importance of mosquito, of course, is that they destroy both food, clothing, and other economic goods. Then we'll move on to the fourth insect here, which is, the third insect, which is the housefly. So the housefly has hairy body, and the head has a pair of compound eye. It has 3 small simple eyes. In addition, a pair of short antennae. There is 1 pair of membranous wings. The second is reduced as balancers, and there are 4 visible segments on the abdomen. The mouth is modified into tubular proboscis as well for sucking up food. Yeah, the economic importance as well is that they carry disease-causing organisms like cholera, dysentery. They carry organisms that could cause disease like cholera, dysentery, and typhoid. Now, let me show you a clearer image of the housefly, maybe beginning with the mouth part. So this is what the mouth part of the housefly looks like. You have the labium, you have the maxillary palp, the labellum, and then you have the pseudotracheae. So this is the eye, and you have the antenna here, quite reduced compared to what you have in cockroach. Then we should also be able to talk about the metamorphosis in the housefly. it also undergoes a complete metamorphosis. So you're beginning with the egg to the larva, and you have the pupa, then before you have the adult. Finally, we'll look at the butterfly. So the butterfly has a slender body and then two pairs of large wings covered with scales. So the head has a pair of large compound eyes and antennae which are club shaped at the tips. The mouth is modified into a long coiled tube called proboscis, which can also uncoil during use. So a vivid picture of the mouth part of the butterfly is seen here. Of course, they all look similar. They have the antenna, of course, on the head. You have the pair of compound eye. You have the labrum, the labia palp, and within this labrum, you have this long structure which can coil and uncoil, which is called the proboscis. Now, remember, this is also found in the housefly and also the mosquito, the proboscis. So it's usually common with insects that suck, that pierce and suck. That's the proboscis. Now, the economic importance, of course, at the larva stage of the butterfly is called caterpillars, and at this stage they actually are very destructive. They can actually cause lots of damage to agricultural products. But when they become adults, they become that beautiful butterfly that we know, and they are more useful in pollinating flowers. So it is important to be able to see the life cycle of the butterfly, where it grows from the egg to the larva, which is a caterpillar that is very destructive at this stage, and then into the pupa. Now, the pupa is also called the chrysalis, and at this stage, it's emerged into the adult butterfly. Now, you should be able to identify the chrysalis or the pupa when you see a diagram. For example, this is not too clear diagram. The pupa actually attaches itself to any surface using what is called the silk thread. You can already see the wing developing in the pupa. You can see the proboscis. You can see the leg and the eyes of what will be the adult butterfly in this pupa case, or the chrysalis. So I think on that note, that gives an overview of the common insects in our environment. There are a couple of questions here that you can actually lay your hands on. For example, in UME 1995 question 6, which of the following is transmitted through mosquito bite? Okay, so now you can see, I think the glaring answer here is the filariasis, which we mentioned earlier, and that is carried by the female Culex mosquito. All right, the female Anopheles mosquito causes malaria. Another question here is question PC 1996 question 7. The saliva injected into the wound during mosquito bite is principally to... So what's the function of the saliva mosquito inject? Usually when mosquito pierces and bites, they release the saliva to prevent the blood from clotting, so that they can have a very free access to the blood meal at that time. Okay, so the mosquito that transmits elephantiasis in human is the what? The female Culex mosquito, which is this one. We mentioned that elephantiasis is the same thing as filariasis. Okay, so if you go through the book, there are questions for mosquitoes. There are questions on for cockroaches. There are a couple of questions for housefly, the structure, the labeling, and there are also questions for the butterfly. You can see this, for example, this is the structure of the pupa of the butterfly. So which an insect whose economic importance is both harmful and beneficial. Of course, that will be the butterfly, because at the larva stage, it's the caterpillar is very destructive. But when it becomes that butterfly, it becomes useful in pollination or beneficial in pollination. And this is the structure we mentioned earlier. So the question says, the part that will develop into an organ for feeling is labeled what? Of course, what organ is responsible for feeling? Of course, that will be the antenna. So if you look closely here, it will be the structure labeled 1, if I'm not mistaken. So this will be what will eventually develop into the antenna in the butterfly. Of course, this is also the mouth part of another question says the part that is labeled 2. Of course, the 2 here is the silk thread. So that's the right answer is option A. So this is the mouth part of the butterfly as well. You can see the coiled proboscis. You can see the compound I. So the question says the structure labeled 2 is, of course, the compound I. The mouth part, the next question says the diagram is the mouth part of the butterfly. So on that note, I think I would like to stop here and leave your comments, like, share, subscribe. I will see you in the next video. Bye.